press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello my dear students, we have been discussing about the chapter the living organisms and their surrounding. See, in the previous class we learnt about the different characteristic feature of the living organisms, like living things need food and living things need to grow, and living things, as I told you, food acts as a fuel for all living organisms, and this fuel, that is the food which provides the energy for all living organisms. Without food we can't even live, and for sleeping purpose also food is important to get the energy, and like that plants also need the food by the process known as photosynthesis. It will prepare the food and thereby utilized. And next one characteristic feature, living things will grow. See, all the living things, even the plants, animal, different types of birds and human also will continuously growing takes place in the body. But in the plants it is very difficult for looking the growth, some plants will grow, and by looking at the germination process we can easily say that the growth will be takes place in the plants also. Next we shall move on to the another point, another characteristic feature of the living things, that is third characteristic feature, living things respire. Living things respire. Say, it is one of the important phenomenon of the living things as respiration. Say, respiration is nothing but it is a process of where our body get nourishment or energy produced by this process, that is respiration. Later I will tell you the definition of the respiration. See, respiration process is nothing but the process by which food is oxidized and in our body and release the oxygen. The food is oxidized and we get the energy. See, in the respiration process we get energy we will get, and all the living things respire. And respiration process, there is a exhalation and inhalation process will be present. See, inhalation process is nothing but taking of oxygen from the outside and thereby through the nose it goes through the body and each cells will get oxidized. And next one is the exhalation process, where we exhale the carbon dioxide, a waste gas which is comes out from our body, and this is nothing but the exhalation. And carbon dioxide we released through our nose also, and inhalation, exhalation, both the process makes the respiration. See, respiration is the process, it is the energy giving process where food is get oxidized and releasing the energy, and this energy which is produced in our body, which carry out the different types of processes like like digestion, excretion, reproduction and even the respiration, where the energy get utilized, and different types of activity we use this energy. And here in the respiration two process will be comes under here, inhalation as well as the exhalation. See, inhalation is nothing but taking of oxygen from the surrounding, and thereby exhalation means removing of the waste gas from our nose and from our different body parts, we can remove the carbon dioxide, and it is the living things will respire. All living things respire, and having the respiratory organs is differ from the different animal. See, like that in human beings respiration takes place through the lungs, and even the earthworm will respire through the skin, and toad, a type of a frog, which is also respired through the skin, and as I told you, whale and the dolphin which is having the respiratory system which is different from different animal, like blowhole or the nostril. Or nostrils will be present, and fishes having the gills present, and even the plants is also respire. Exchange of the gases will be takes place through the leaves. See, in the leaves having pores. Through these pores, exchange of gases will be takes place. See, like that, living things can respire. See, once again I will tell you, the living things will be respire. See, there are different animals having the different respiratory organs will be present, and thereby, for example, earthworm having the skin, it will respire through the skin, and even the toad, a type of a frog, which is usually present in the rock region or the rock where the stones and different types of rocks are present, that areas these toad will be present, and this toad respire through the skin, and whale and dolphin which respire through the blowholes or the nostrils, and this is the respiratory organ which is present in the whale as well as the dolphin. And fishes, we all know that the respiratory organ of the fishes is the gills, and the plant. See, we all know that plants respire through the leaves. Usually, see, consider this is the leaf, and this leaf having the tiny pores which is present in the plant or especially in the leaves, and these pores, from these pores exchange of the gases will be takes place, and carbon dioxide as well as the oxygen is exchange takes place through the pores. This pores is known as stomata, and this is how we can say that even the plants also respiratory organs is different, like these holes, that is the stomata, through the exchange of the gases like carbon dioxide and the oxygen will be exchanged here, and thereby plants also respire. See, living things respire. Respiration is very important phenomenon, so that it is helpful for to get the oxidized food get oxidized in this process, and thereby we get the energy to carry out the different life activities in day-to-day routine life. And this respiration involves the two process, that is exhalation as well as the inhalation. See, exhalation where we remove the carbon dioxide from our body, and inhalation where we gain the oxygen from the surrounding and thereby carry out the process known as respiration. And like the different animals having the different respiratory structures, like earthworm shows the structure of a skin. Through the skin it will respire, and the toad skin, and blowhole and whale and dolphin which is having the different respiratory structure like blowholes and the nostril, and fishes having the gills, and even the plants also respire through the leaves, and the leaves having the tiny pores called as stomata, where the exchange of the gases as takes place, like carbon dioxide as well as the oxygen will be takes place in the stomata. So we can say that even the plants is also a living things, and living things shows the respiration or the respire. Next we shall move on to the another characteristic feature, that is living things response to stimuli. See, there are two words is comes in this heading. So, living things responds to stimuli. This is the fourth characteristic feature of the living things. See, as I told you, living things responds to stimuli. See, for example, before going to this heading, let me ask you a few questions. If you walk on a barefoot on somewhere or walking on a somewhere, and suddenly you step onto the sharp substance like knife or like thorn, what will happen? You just without thinking you remove your foot from this area or from this place, and like that. And in the wild area and the forest region, if we put on the torch, then what will happen? The animals will run away from the light, and like that there are different examples will be there. See, and another one is if you look at your favorite food, what will happen? In your mouth watering will be present, watering will be comes out from your mouth, and thereby you want to eat those food, your favorite food you have to eat. And see, this is how we can say that we will respond to the stimuli. See, the thought and the favorite food and the light of the torch will also, these are all the stimuli which we respond without even thinking. And so that we can say that stimuli is different from the response. The stimuli is nothing but the change in the environment of an organism, the change in the organisms, the change in the organisms and the reaction, the change in the environment of an organisms and the reaction. See, the change in the environment of an organisms and the reaction of that organisms to action of an organisms is called as stimuli. And what is the meaning of response? Response is the change in the environment of an organisms is called as stimuli. And the reaction of an organisms by the stimuli is called as a response. And the reaction of an organisms with the stimuli is called as a response. See, just learn the difference between the stimuli and the response. See, stimuli is nothing but the change in the environment of an organism is called as stimuli, whereas the response is the reaction of an organism is with response to the stimuli is called as response. See, for example, if you have to serve a food items which is favorite for the dog, what will happen? You observe that the dog will become the active by seeing or by looking at the food items. Like that, stimuli means what? The change in the environment of an organism is called as stimuli, and suddenly it will respond means, and the reaction of an organism comes under the heading response. The dog will be active, and this is nothing but the response. And the stimuli means the change in the organisms. If favorite food is keep or served for the dog means it is called as a stimuli. And even as I told you, if we walk on a barefooted, and if sharp object, we step onto the sharp object, then suddenly we remove our foot, and this is called the response. Without even thinking about the reaction, we remove our foot, is called as the response. And the thorn is nothing but the stimuli. The change in the environment of an organism is called as the stimuli. Since beside this, human beings also responds to the stimuli, and even animals also. As I told you, if we serve the food items, favorite food items for the animal like dog, it will becomes the active, and this activeness is nothing but the response to the stimuli. A response, it gives a response to your food items, and this is how animals also respond to the stimuli. And not only the animals and the human beings respond to the stimuli, but even the plants also respond to the stimuli. So this is all about the stimuli and the response. See, stimuli means a change in the environment of an organism is called as stimuli. See, the change in the environment of an organism is called as stimuli, and the reaction is nothing but the response. And this reaction comes only when the stimuli will be takes place, and such a reaction is called as a response. See, this is how the stimuli is different from the response. And as I told you, plants also show response to the stimuli. A few examples I will write on the board now, so that you can clarify your doubts. See, for example, sunflower. See, sunflower, the flower will be turned as the sunlight will falls on it. See, consider this is the flower of the sunflower. See, this is the plant of the sunflower, where see, if sun is facing here means it will turn towards the sunlight, and if the sunlight is present some other side means it will turn the part of the plant body to the sunlight. And like that we can say that even the plants also responds to the stimuli. And one more example is the touch-me-not plant. The scientific name of the touch-me-not plant is the mimosa. See, mimosa, a touch-me-not plant which also shows the response to the stimuli. Mimosa, nothing but the touch-me-not plant, and if we touch to this plant means it will fold their leaves, and sometimes it will cover its leaves. And after few hours you can see again the touch-me-not plants will be open its leaves. See, this is one of the example of the response to the stimuli. See, mimosa is nothing but the touch-me-not plant. It is one of the scientific name of the touch-me-not plant is the mimosa, a type of a plant. And see, if we touch the plant like mimosa, after few hours you can see suddenly it will fold their leaves and cover its leaves, and after few hours you can see the leaves will be open, and thereby we can say that it will also respond to the stimuli. If we touch the leaves, then it will covers or fold its leaves, and thereby we can say that it will also respond to the stimuli. And beside this, some of the flowers which are rise at the sunrise, or some flowers which blooms at the sunrise. And will becomes the close. Blooms at night. and during the sunset and during the daytime, and some flowers which close its petals during at the sunset. And this is the example for the response to the stimuli. See, response is nothing but without thinking the reaction will be takes place, is called the response. And the stimuli is the environment of an organisms which taking place in the environment. We call it as a stimuli, and this is how we can say that even the plants, animals, human beings will be response to the stimuli. So this is one of the characteristic feature of the living things. Next we shall move on to the living things excretion. See, living things excrete. Excretion is very important process for all living organisms. See, man and different types of animals, birds excrete. Excrete means removal of the waste from the body. Like that, as I told you, the camel will be excrete a little, means cow dung will be very dry, and like that even human beings also excretion process will be takes place in the human beings also. And here it is one of the important phenomenon for all living organisms. And see, excretion is nothing but the process of getting rid of the waste. Getting rid means removal of waste. Rid is nothing but the removal of waste is called as a rid. And excretion is nothing but the removal of waste from the body, or another definition, it is nothing but the excretion is the process of getting rid of the waste from our body is called as excretion. Even the plants also excrete. See, sometimes we can't say that plants do not excrete. We think that plants can't excrete. In plants also excretion process will be takes place either and this is the secretion process. And some plants will secrete the white liquid from their plant body, and this is nothing but the excretion process or removal of waste from the body. And white liquid will be present, and reddish brown color liquid will be comes out from the plants, and it is one of the secretion. Secretion is nothing but the secrets, waste will be secreted out, and this is nothing but the excretion or excrete. Plants also excrete in the form of a secretion. The white color liquid which comes out in the plant is called as the secretion. And next one is the next one is the plants also reproduce. Living things can reproduce. See, reproduction is one of the important phenomenon in the living things. See, reproduction is nothing but the producing of offspring or the baby ones is called as reproduction. And this reproduction are of two types, either one by laying eggs or by giving birth to young ones. Young ones. See, as I told you, the living things can reproduce. Reproduction is very important phenomenon. Here reproduction will be takes place in the two methods, either by laying the eggs or by giving birth to young ones. And reproduction is nothing but producing of offspring or the baby one. Even different types of animals as well as the birds will reproduce their young ones of their same kind. And see, the plants will also reproduce. The baby plant like potato will be in the bud condition, we have to keep in the soil, means then thereby the same potato will be growing, and the rose plant, the stem cutting of the rose plant, thereby we get the same variety, that is offspring of the rose plant will be again regenerate, and thereby the process of germination, the plants will be grow. And there are varieties of examples of the plants which shows the reproductive process. And next last one is the living things can die. See, apart from these characteristic feature, there is a last important, very important process, or the very important characteristic feature of the living things is the living things will die. See, all the living things, human beings, plants, animals, different types of birds, and even though the microorganisms which can't be seen through our naked eyes, and even though these organisms also die. See, it is one of the important characteristic feature of the living things. So this is all about the characteristic feature of the living things, so that we can come to know about this characteristic feature. We can segregate or separate from the living things to the non-living things by saying that living things shows living things have life, whereas the non-living things which do not have life. Non-living things which do not have life. So we can say that the living things, if having the life, means these characteristics will be having, whereas the non-living things which do not have life means this characteristic which do not involve in this non-living things. So this is all about today's class. So thank you. Let's wind up the class here. In tomorrow's class we will learn about some more beautiful chapter. Okay, thank you.